One goes out to all the lurkers out there on my Instagram page. I see you. If you have been looking at my Burnout to Breakthrough content and you're looking at this course and you've been watching my posts and maybe saving them or maybe thinking, oh, I would love to do that, but XYZ, then you need to watch this live. So for those of you who are new here, I am Katie. Thank you so much for being here with me. I'm going to tell you guys all about my upcoming Burnout to Breakthrough program and those roadblocks that you have got standing in your way. We're going to talk about those. We're going to go through some FAQs, and if you have any messages or any questions that you want to share with me as we go through this, then please drop it in the comments or drop it as a question. Hello, thank you so much for being here. How are you guys? How are you feeling today? Is today one of those busy, stressful days, or is today a chill one for you? Let me know. So to tell you a little bit about me before we get started and why I created Burnout to Breakthrough, let's rewind a few years to tell you about where I used to be and what my life used to be like. So let's rewind. I was working as a solicitor. In lockdown, things got very intense. I ended up working pretty much from about 7 in the morning until midnight or 2 a.m. I would then get into bed. I would wake up in the night with panic attacks. I wouldn't have a decent night's sleep. I was having rapid flashback imagery, part of the CPTSD experience. And then I would get up in the morning exhausted, do it all again, eat all of my meals at my desk, feel like everything on my to-do list was urgent, feel like I constantly had to prove myself and be available. And it was draining. Someone's asked if I'm British. Yes, I am. I was not in a good space. So I was working really hard, I was constantly exhausted and really stressed out, overwhelmed, pushed myself to burnout. Now, I was also in the midst of an abusive relationship that I didn't understand at the time, but that was obviously really weighing on me too. And now ended up leaving that job, starting my business that I have today, which has evolved and grown from being very yoga focused to now very much a 360 approach to health and wellness. So I do probably more life coaching now than I do yoga work. But all of the yoga, all the meditation, all of this stuff that I learned was an amazing gateway to getting to where I am today. And actually the practices that I did, that I was learning, that I was teaching were fundamental in my journey because they were helping me to regulate my nervous system to a place where I could actually still show up and still focus and still be present. And it's not enough to know the practices, and especially if you're of the mindset that I was of, where you feel like everything is an emergency and there's no time for you to do things for you. And it feels like those practices that are for you are just a nice to have. They don't feel necessary, and worse, they can even feel like procrastination. You know, if you've got a to-do list like this and you're like, oh, do I spend 10 minutes meditating? Absolutely not. All this stuff needs doing, it won't get done. And what happens if you're in that mindset is you put yourself to the bottom of the list, and then you go through all the other things that are on your to-do list to the point where the time for you gets pushed into the next day, into the next day, into the next day. And then when you finally do have time to put into yourself, you don't do it because you're exhausted. But here's the thing, this stuff is not just a nice to have. It's not just a luxury. It's essential. And if you are in this space where you are very stressed out, you are very overwhelmed, this is an amazing way to regulate your nervous system so that, yes, you can actually cope much better in those busier situations. But here's the thing, I knew a ton of these practices. I was teaching a ton of these practices, but it's not enough just to know them. You actually have to do them. And this is the thing, when you speak to people and they are very stressed out, they are very overwhelmed, and it's like, okay, what are you doing for you? What are you doing right now? Are you meditating? Are you doing breath work? Are you taking some time to have a little walk outside each day? What are you doing for you? And they're like, oh yeah, I meditate. Okay, great. When was the last time you meditated? Probably about 2 years ago. Because in your mind, you're like, oh, I know the practice, that's enough. It's not enough. You actually have to do this stuff. So anyway, in this state where I was very burnt out, I was working extremely hard. I had very high pressure clients. I also had cross-office teams that were very demanding and would regularly drop stuff on me like, hey, Katie, can you review these 90 contracts by the end of the day? And it was extremely intense. You know, you see that and you're like, great, let's write off my whole evening then. I'm going to be up and have to pull an all-nighter. Let's pull in a load more coffee. Let's just remove any distraction, anything from me. This is the priority. I know what it's like to have a ton of pressure landing on you, especially when the deadline is really short and actually the expectations of other people are just completely unreasonable, let's be honest. I know what it's like to work in that environment. But the thing is, I also know how to help you because I have helped myself, even without really realizing what I was doing. Hey guys, thanks so much for joining. See more of you coming in now. If you missed the beginning, you can catch all of this on the replay as well, so it'll be saved to my page. So I left that job and I started my company. And I thought that actually being out of that legal environment, I would be able to live the chill life, live the slow life. I thought I would be able to show up and be like, oh yeah, I set my own deadlines now. I set my own time. I choose how many clients I'm going to take on and all of this stuff. I thought life would be really different. But here's the thing. I was putting everything out to the external to say, oh, the reason I'm stressed out is because of this client. It's because of this project. It's because of this boss. It's because of this XYZ, whatever else excuse I gave myself. And it wasn't true. I started my own business and guess what? I burnt myself out there as well. Because I had a real need to prove my worth. I had this real need to be like, I've made this decision and now I need to prove that it was the right decision. I need to really make it happen and make it work. Otherwise, everyone's going to think I'm a failure. I had this real high achiever mindset where I wanted to show people, look what I can do. And it was not serving me well. So anyway, fast forward again. And I left the relationship that I was in without really realizing the depths to how abusive that was or the situation I was in. And if you're interested in learning more about that, I have a whole vlog on this on YouTube. But I left that situation, later discovered the nature of the abuse, how that works and how I'd ended up in that situation. I learned so much about my trauma responses that were keeping me stuck in that relationship, that were keeping me very open and susceptible to this abuse. And I started to learn much more about those things so that I could heal myself, so that I could grow. And the more that I learned about that, the more I saw the link between how much the things that were keeping me in that abuse cycle were also the same things that were triggering responses in me that kept me in a burnout cycle. I learned so much about myself. I've done the healing work now, and now I want to share it with you guys as well. So yes, 12 weeks, and I'm capping this course to 12 women, and I'm going to show you how to go from burnout to breakthrough. Now, that's not to say you guys have to quit your jobs. Absolutely not. There's women on this course who absolutely love their jobs and they want to learn how to show up with more passion and more purpose and feel more energized in their work. And that is exactly where we're going with this. You are going to learn so much about yourself on this program that, I'm not going to lie, you're going to be a different person when you come out the other side of it. Transformation is coming. And I know that sounds kind of scary, but these are the things that are going to help you to grow. And if you're in a place right now where you're not happy, you're stressed, you're overwhelmed, maybe depressed, maybe burned out, and you don't want to feel that way anymore, well, let me show you how you can show up without feeling those things. Because it is absolutely possible to be a high achiever without all of this hustle, without doubting yourself, without always putting yourself to the bottom of your to-do list. It's possible to do that, and I'm going to show you how. So this course covers a ton of stuff. Like I said, it's 12 weeks group program. We cover things like people pleasing, which again, something that really was fueling me in the burnout cycle and the abuse cycle. We're going to be covering things like boundaries, not only what kind of boundaries you should be looking at. And to be completely honest, nobody can tell you what boundaries that you need in your life. But I can tell you where you can look at putting boundaries in place. We can have a look at your triggers to find out what boundaries you need, and then talking about how to enforce those as well. Because let's be honest, if you've been showing up for years and years and years already as a boundaryless people pleaser, and all of a sudden you come in and you're like, actually, I have needs and they're important, and I have boundaries and I'm going to set those, some people are going to be pissed off, because those people are the ones who are likely to be taking advantage of you. They're likely to be the person who's like, you know what, this is a really shit last minute job, but I know who'll do it. They're the kind of people that you'll go out for lunch with and they'll be like, oh, I forgot my purse, can I borrow this money, and never give it back to you. Those people, they are really happy that you're a people pleaser with no boundaries, because they can take advantage of you. But if you're ready to step into your power and not be that person that everyone dumps on, then this is the program for you. So yes, we'll be covering that stuff. We're also going to be looking at childhood trauma. We're going to look at inner child healing. We're going to look at reparenting. We're going to look at nervous system regulation. We're going to look at time management. We're going to look at a whole ton of stuff that is going to give you a very holistic, very 360 approach to your healing. And I know that some of you who have been lurking, who have been looking at this stuff, and you think, wow, this looks like a really great program, but you've been in my DMs and you said now is not the time. Let me ask you, when is the time? Because you could start this course now. We start on the 16th of July. Where are you going to be in 12 weeks? Because either way, that time is going to pass. And you could keep outsourcing your power to everything externally, to be like, oh, well, I'm not ready for healing yet, but I'll be ready when I have X amount in the bank, or I'll be ready when I get this promotion, or I'll be ready when. There's no perfect time to do this work. For me, the perfect time would have been 10 years ago, but I didn't know then what I know now. And now that I know what I know, yeah, I wish I'd done this before, but I absolutely know that there is no timeline that makes this the perfect time to do the work. So it just means, are you willing? Are you open? And if you are the person who really needs this course, it is likely that you are also the person that really struggles to ask for help. And I feel that, because I was that. You think that you need to get yourself a good 90% of the way there before you ask anyone else for help. Or you think, okay, this is possible, I can do it. What I'll do then is I'll read a ton of self-help books. I'll do a ton of free trainings online. I'll do. But actually, you don't have time to do all of that stuff. First of all, you're burnt out. First of all, you're stressed out. Do you want to do this thing where you're running around in circles trying to find answers and trying to heal yourself? Or do you want to be shown the way by somebody who's been there, who's walked the walk, who's done the healing, and who knows how to take you on this journey? And not only do I know how to take you on this journey, but I also have done this journey, fallen down many bear traps along the way. So I can guide you and show you, hey, this is a bit to avoid. This is something to look out for, so that you know how to travel this journey. And if you're going anywhere, having a guide that's done it and been there and made the mistakes along the way, they are the best guides, because they know. So if you're somebody who struggles to ask for help, we're going to be talking about that in more detail when we cover off childhood trauma responses. It is linked to self-worth, and I promise you, you are worthy of receiving support. You are worthy of healing. You're worthy of growth. And I want you to just imagine for a second, what if you had already done the work? Let's fast forward into the future. You've already done the work, and you show up, and yes, you still have busy days. Yes, you still have demanding clients, but you show up with a regulated nervous system. You show up and move from a place of purpose and passion, and you don't show up from this place of trauma response. You don't have this huge need to prove yourself. Instead, you know you do a fantastic job. You're able to manage your own and other people's expectations. And yeah, some situations are going to be intense, but you are ready to deal with them. And not only do you show up as a high achiever, but you enjoy what you're doing. Sometimes you have long days at work, but you're passionate about them, you're excited about them. And there is no question in your mind about your worth around these things, around the deadlines. And you know exactly what is your side of the street and what is someone else's side of the street, so that you know what you want to take on. You know where your boundaries lie. So that you're not taking on all of the emotional work that comes with everything else. Whether that be with your colleagues, with people that you're supervising, people that are delegating to you, whether it be your friends or your family. Because when you're a people pleaser and you take on all this stuff, it's very, very heavy. But you can put down some of that baggage so that you have capacity to show up with the energy that you need, that you deserve, and put it wherever you want to put it. And that actually in your to-do list, you're right there at the top. Because you know and you understand that you are worth taking care of. And you love yourself so much that you want to take care of you. And you want to see you thriving. And you want to live a life of higher vibration. You don't want to live this life of stress, overwhelm, burnout. You want to live this life of passion, excitement, of joy. And I know if you'd have told me a few years ago that I would have been able to do my job as a lawyer and not feel all of those things, I would not have believed you. Even though I've seen it, even though I've seen other people do the same job as me and seemingly show up way less stressed than me, that seemed to enjoy what they were doing, whereas I really, really wasn't. I saw it, but I didn't know how that worked. And now I know the way, and I'm going to share that with you. So I want you to imagine how you will feel, because either way, these 12 weeks are going to pass. We start on the 16th of July. We finish early October. But before we get started, if you signed up today, you get access to the whole My Connected Self library from the moment that you sign up until the end of the course. So that your healing journey, you don't have to wait for me. You don't have to wait until the 16th of July. What you can do is start today, start working on practices that are going to regulate your nervous system so that you can bring yourself to a more balanced state, ready to do the work. Because it is work. We focus our sessions around education, healing, and integration. Because you guys know, if you just read a self-help book and you're like, oh yeah, there's some good ideas in there, by the time you finish the book, you've already forgotten about it. Or you might think, oh yeah, it'd be great to show up as somebody who had boundaries, but that doesn't really feel like me. That feels a bit inauthentic. I don't know how to do that. Okay, we'll just never do that. This is about bringing in this work to a place that feels authentic to you, that allows you to start building on these things in a way that feels comfortable. We also have sessions on a Wednesday where I'm going to invite you guys to bring to the table the real life examples of the things that are really causing you stress and the things that relate to what we've just learned about. So let's say, for example, we did boundary session. You might come to the table and be like, hey, this situation happened at work. It was really stressful. I fucked up, but I now know I probably should have put in these boundaries, or I could have done this, or what do you think I should have done in this situation? And by the way, there is no should have. There's no one way to live life. There's ways that you can implement stuff. And like I say, this has got to come in a way that is feeling authentic to you and a way that works for you. So yes, the word really is could have. You could have put in a boundary here. You could have done this. And then you start to look at it like a buffet. So you can go up and just taste a little bit and try a little bit of everything and then be like, you know what, that was really good. I'm going to go back and have more of that. Or you can be like, you know, that was good, but I only want a little bit of it right now. Maybe next time I go up, I might want more of it. It's a way for you to start to build up and integrate this stuff once you have that understanding. Because when I'm working with coaching clients, really the thing about why working with a coach is really helps you to grow is because you're living your own experience and you only have a certain viewpoint. So you might come in and your awareness is kind of like this. You can't see your blind spots and you don't know what you don't know. And you might look at a situation and think, this thing really stressed me out. It was overwhelming, blah, blah, blah. And then when I can show you your blind spots, you might be like, oh, that wasn't really what was happening. You know, maybe I felt this thing and I externalized it and then I put all of that power onto this one thing that I thought was the thing that was stressing me out. But it's actually about this. So it can take your awareness from something like this to being more here. And then once you have that education, you can decide where you want to sit within that circle. So it's absolutely not about highlighting ways that you are broken or need fixing or you're doing things wrong. It's not about that. It's about sharing with you more awareness, expansion, so that you can decide where you want to sit. You can decide if and how you want to grow and at what rate. And I know that this 12 weeks is going to change people's lives. And like I said, yes, it will change your life in some amazing, amazing ways. Also, it might mean that because you show up more empowered, you show up stronger, it might mean that some people don't like that and you realise that actually maybe the friendships that you had that you thought were great might not necessarily be what you thought they were. So things might change as a knock-on effect of the work that we do, but it is also a way to sort of work out what is aligned with you and where you're going. If you're vibrating on this level of, oh, you know what, everyone go ahead of me, it's all good, I'm at the bottom of the list, like everyone is better than me, go right ahead, then people are going to treat you that way. And you're going to attract that shit back to you. You know, oh, I'm the dog's body at work. You know, if you've got any really crappy tasks, just send them my way. I'll do them last minute. Yeah, I'll do whatever you need because I have no self-worth. I will happily cancel my plans to meet your needs. Whereas when you start showing up here, you start attracting better things. You start attracting better friendships, better relationships. And so, yes, your life may change probably in more ways than you anticipate off the back of this course. But imagine the bigger picture of that and how incredible that could be. Now, I'm going to cover off some FAQs and some of the resistance that people have brought to me about this program. And we'll go through those now. But if you have any questions, whether you're joining me live, you can pop them in the comment box, or you can drop them as a DM to me or put them in a comment if you're watching this on the replay. So some of the resistance that people have for this, they say, I am not used to investing money in myself and it feels uncomfortable to do that. Because yes, this program is maybe the most money you've ever invested in yourself, but it's also going to give you the biggest growth you've ever seen. I spent years in therapy running around in this circle, not getting anywhere, thinking I was doing something because I was ticking a box of going to therapy, but it actually never let me see my blind spots. It never let me expand my awareness. And I'm not saying therapy is necessarily a bad thing. It definitely didn't hold me back, but it didn't give me the accelerated growth that I'm offering you in this program. It felt like I was doing the work. But when I look back on it and see the progress that I made and the things that I learned, I have done way more work in other areas of my life than in those times. And now I want you to think about this as a concept as well. When you guys are struggling with stress, overwhelm, burnout, one thing that you might decide to invest in as a way to overcome that is a holiday. And you might spend way more than the cost of the course that I'm offering you for 12 weeks. You might spend way more than that for the space of a week, 10 days. And you go off on that holiday and you might get a little bit of headspace back. You might feel a little bit more calm, a little bit more relaxed. You get a bit of time for you. But then you're just in a different environment. And when you get back into that same environment again, then all of a sudden it's the same problems. And so you're spending money to have this quick fix solution that lasts you a week, 10 days, and then you jump straight back into the burnout and overwhelm. And you keep going through that cycle of stress, overwhelm, burnout. And then you bring it back to your little holiday, have a bit of a rest, and then you go back into it again. It's a quick fix. There's no real healing there. It's a distraction. It's a change in environment. Whereas what I'm offering you is going to be 12 weeks. It's going to be healing work. It's going to allow you to show up so that when you get back into that environment, which let's say it's an environment you really want to be in, you love your job, you want to thrive, you want to be a high achiever, you just don't want all of the stress and the baggage that comes with it, then I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to create a life that you don't need a holiday from. But yeah, you can still enjoy holidays. But it's about that shift in mindset. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to prove it. You don't have to hit rock bottom before you ask for help or before you go to that holiday, before you do that thing. So this program, it starts in 11 days. Also my favorite number. It starts in 11 days. Are you ready to join it? We already have women on this program from all kinds of different industries. So imagine the conversations that we are going to be having inside the team, inside that group. These women, they have stressful jobs. They have stressful lives and they're willing to do the work because they are ready for change. And that is what I find most exciting about this, is because that moment when you say yes to being in this program, you are saying yes to change. You're already like a massive, massive chunk of the way there. And that needs to be celebrated. So, Laura, Jofi, Becky, I am celebrating you guys because you are ready to do the work. And I know you're not going to fail. First of all, I'm not going to let you fail. But second of all, you have already said yes to your own self-worth, to your own healing, to your own development. And that is a really, really hard thing to do if you're of the mindset where you struggle to ask for help or you don't think you're worth investing in. It is a massive, massive leap. And that's why I'm so proud of you guys for taking that leap and joining me on this journey. So I can't wait to have you inside the program. I can't wait to see the growth that you guys are going to make. It's just going to be wild. But let me tell you a little bit more about what to expect if you sign up to this program, if you join us on this journey. So like I said to you earlier, if you join us on this program from the moment that you sign up, and by the way, you can either pay in full or you can do in 3 lots of monthly installments. So it's either $600 a month or $1,800 in full, up to you, however you want to structure that. From the moment you sign up, you get full access to the My Connected Self app. So again, you can start regulating your nervous system. You can start taking a bit of time for you. And there's sessions on there as short as 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's a very easy way to be like, you know what? I'm going to do 3 practices this week. And it's not just about the practice. It's about showing up and doing something that tells yourself, I'm worthy of taking care of. I'm worthy of spending time on me. I'm worthy of healing. And that's why I'm going to put this 10 minutes into myself. So you get that from the moment you sign up. You're also going to get a welcome gift when you sign up to do this program. I have a beautiful welcome VIP gift that you guys are going to get very soon, those of you who've already signed up. And it is a personalised gift as well. So this is why if you want to sign up as soon as possible so that you have this gift ready to go when we get started. Because it takes me a little bit of time to personalise it and get it out to you. You get 12 weeks. Now, the sessions, like I said, the live sessions are going to be on a Sunday, on a Wednesday, but it's all going to be saved for catch-up. So if you decide you want to go on holiday, absolutely fine. You can either do this on holidays, all online, or you can catch up when you get back. You can submit questions in advance So for our Q&A sessions on Wednesday, let's say you can't make it, but you're like, you know what, I really want to put forward this example that's happened to me this week because I don't know how else I could have dealt with it. Send it to me. Even if you can't make it live, I'll cover off your example, I'll cover off your questions, and all of this stuff is going to be available to you for life. So let's say you join me, you do my session on boundaries, and you're like, you know what, that was really, really great. I'm going to start integrating this bit by bit. And then later on, maybe like a couple of weeks or a couple of months later, you're like, you know what? I think Kate said this really great thing about boundaries. Can't remember what it was. Go back and watch it again. Watch it 10 times. It's all good. So yes, you get the Sunday sessions, the Wednesday sessions. They're all available for catch up. There's going to be some bonus sessions in there as well. And each week I'm going to be giving you guys some integration work to help you to start building this stuff into your life. Because like I said, this isn't just like me talking at you. I want you to start implementing this stuff from day one. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And with these integration tasks, you can do them as much or as little as you want to. I'm not marking homework, but I really recommend that you do really embrace these opportunities for growth. So let me see, has anyone else got any questions on the course? Somebody said, what does it mean to be in your body? I love this question. And you know what? I was very disconnected from my body before, so I wouldn't have known even where to start with this. But let's say you are so distracted by everything that is going on around you that you don't notice any of the signals that your body is giving you. Our body, it holds a lot of emotion, it holds a lot of stress, it holds a lot of trauma, and a lot of it we don't even notice that it is there because we think of ourselves as being, I don't know, just this one thing. We don't think about the whole picture of all of this that we really are. That we are consciousness having a human experience and we're in this body and we're doing this thing. But we get so distracted by everything else around us and we put all of our energy externally into all of those things that are stressing us out, that are overwhelming us, that we forget to be with ourselves. We forget to connect to ourselves. And so when you're in your body, you will notice more, how am I feeling? You'll notice, am I really overwhelmed? Is my heart rate up? What's my breathing like? And if you're very stressed, it's likely you're breathing right up in your chest. You're breathing very short, shallow breaths. Whereas if you can notice that, if you can be in your body and be with yourself and notice those things, you can know when you're going down that sort of slippery slope of being very overwhelmed, very stressed out, and think, okay, a quick way for me to feel better in my body is maybe I change this breath, for example. Maybe I change it to something that is going to stimulate my vagus nerve, which is basically like our switch, taking us from this fight or flight mode into more rest and digest very quickly. And think, actually, I've noticed this is happening. What I'm going to do is just take my breath into my belly. I'm going to slow it down. What I'm going to do is, I'm really overwhelmed at the moment because I've been looking at a screen and my vision has been like this and it's making me stressed, it's making me overwhelmed because from a, kind of very primal place, when we have our vision very closed off, we start to trigger a stress response because we can't see all the predators that are around us that are potentially going to attack us, right? I know we've evolved a lot, but we still have this kind of innate caveman instincts in that way. So yeah, you're feeling really stressed out. I've been looking at my computer, I've been looking at my phone very intensely for a very long time. What you can do is, actually, I'm going to look out the window, I'm going to expand my awareness, and all of a sudden my nervous system is just way happier. But if you're so disconnected with your body, with your emotions, how you're feeling, you're not going to spot those things. You're not going to notice, actually, my stress at the moment is being heightened because I'm boiling hot in this room. You might notice that, or you might be freezing cold, you might struggle to regulate your temperature. Okay, well, I've noticed that. Now I can fix that. Now my nervous system feels a bit happier. Now I can focus a bit better. Or it's really loud in here. I can put my earphones in. When you're in your body, you get to experience what it's like to be you. So yes, you get the physical sensations, you get the emotional sensations, and if you're somebody who this course will be really beneficial to, then maybe you're also the kind of person who was never really encouraged to embrace any of the sort of lower vibration emotions. So maybe you started crying, your parents would always be like, oh, don't cry, oh, shh, and kind of do you out of having that experience in a way. Our emotions are energy in motion. It's something that wants to be felt. You feel it so you can heal it. And some people have never really leaned into that. Some people don't know what happens if they just allow themselves to cry out and cry out. They think they'll never stop. But actually that's the way that our body is processing stuff. And if we constantly push down and we suppress or repress our emotions, they don't just go into like the ether of nothingness. They sit in our body, and we can hold it as stress. We can hold it as even disease. We can hold it as physical pain. And the breathwork that I do is an amazing way to start to release some of this stuff. And we can actually process emotions in about 8 seconds in my transformational breathwork journeys. I'm going off on like a bit of a tangent here, but I think this is such an amazing question. So thank you for asking it. But yeah, some people, they don't know. And if you were brought up to be this people-pleasing person who's not allowed to have any emotional needs, I used to think that I wasn't capable of being angry. I just thought that was an emotion that I had, but it turns out I was just really good at suppressing it. And at first I was scared, like, how do I experience anger? Oh, I don't think that's okay. It's not pretty, it's not cute, it's not something that I want to embody. But actually there's so much power in that, of being able to be like, hey, I'm in this body, I'm having this human experience, and part of that is experiencing the whole spectrum of human emotion. There is so much power in your emotions if you allow yourself to sit with them, to experience them. So yeah, be in your body and don't be afraid of what is there. Because often we can be so good, an emotion comes by and we don't listen to it. It's something that maybe is trying to tell us that we need to take a break, or we need to change something or do something, and we're just like, shh, just push that down. It's fine. I've got work to do. We don't listen to it. But when you trust yourself, you trust your intuition, you trust yourself to read your emotions, to read your body, to read how it feels to be in your body and the signals that your body is giving you. Our bodies are so clever. And this is what I love about breathwork as well. By the way, breathwork is in the course, along with a whole ton of other stuff. But breathwork gets you out of that thinking part of your mind that is constantly narrating, that is like, hey, we know how to do this, we have the blueprint, this is how we're going to do it. It's about quieting down that part of your mind and just handing the keys over from your mind to your body and just letting your body do the work. Because you have this inner healer that knows exactly what to do if you just let it. And you don't even have to know how to do that through the breathwork. It happens naturally. And so a lot of people will come to it and say, that was a really wild experience. I had this physical pain that just suddenly disappeared and now I don't have it anymore. And I've had that for the past 8 months. Or they say, all of these memories and stuff came up that I didn't even know were there. Even people having past life regressions, the experiences that people have through transformational breathwork is wild. But I've never had somebody come through the end of that and say, oh, I really regret letting go of all that stuff. I really regret being in my body for that time. I really regret the new lightness I feel or the better sleep that I feel. None of that. But I know it can be a scary thing to lean into healing. Because like I say, connected to self-worth, a lot of people think they're not worthy of healing or that they're too busy to be healed. It's not true. So I hope that answers your question. Let me have a look and see if there's any others. So I think that's all the ones that I have. If you guys would like to drop me a DM, find out more about this course, there's a few things that you can do. So yes, you can DM me, you can pop a comment, you can also hit the link in my bio on my page. That will take you to the Burnout to Breakthrough page and you can read all about what to expect and the kind of things that we'll be covering on there. And if you're still not sure if this is something that is for you, book in a discovery call with me. There is a link in my bio. Find a space in my diary and let's have a chat, because I really am so excited and so passionate about this course. I want to talk you through it and tell you exactly what you can expect, how I can help you, and work through any resistance that you might have around joining. So if you want to ask me anything, get in touch. I do read all of my messages. I read all my emails. You can email me at katie@myconnectedself.co.uk. And I would just love to share this work with you. So if you're ready to take, and I know it's a massive leap, if you're ready to take this leap and say yes to joining me on this journey, then get in touch now. And I will see you guys very soon. Thank you so much for joining me.